From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.
Good morning. This is Craig Allison with your Morning Pulse for Wednesday, March 4th. Before we get into our main stories from this morning, we have been following breaking news. Just this morning, the Pentagon held a press conference with Secretary Pete Hegseth speaking as an update on the U.S.-Israeli conflict with Iran. Some of the latest updates that we're just gathering from that briefing from this morning: the U.S. sank an Iranian warship in international waters, according to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and it has intensified its bombardment with Israel of Iran's security forces and other symbols of power. Tehran vowed to completely destroy the Middle East's military and economic infrastructure, signaling the war was nowhere near over and could expand further. In addition to striking Tehran on the fifth day of the conflict, Israel hit the Iranian-backed Hezbollah militant group in Lebanon, while Iran fired on Bahrain, Kuwait, and Israel. As the conflict spiraled, Turkey said NATO defenses intercepted a ballistic missile launched from Iran before it entered Turkey's airspace. And again, all these updates coming just this morning. As a recap, the war has killed more than 1,000 people in Iran and dozens in Lebanon while disrupting the supply of world's oil and gas, which we have a story later in this live edition of Morning Pulse, and snarling international shipping and stranding hundreds of thousands of travelers in the Middle East. Again, this press conference coming within just an hour ago, around 7 a.m. when it was launched off our time here in Nebraska, and we'll continue to keep you updated as we work to process more from that press conference. But sticking to Iran, our first story this morning: soldier from Bellevue has been identified as one of the 6 people killed in a drone strike in Kuwait. We've been working to learn more about 42-year-old Sergeant First Class Noah Tegens. We do know he was assigned to the 103rd Sustainment Command out of Des Moines and was supporting Operation Epic Fury in Iran. Now, Sergeant Tegens was killed by a drone hitting his base camp on Sunday in Kuwait. All 6 were working to provide food, fuel, water, and ammunition to forces. Now, if you head to our website on this story, we have the names and faces of 4. Those are the confirmed that have been identified, but 2 have not yet been identified yet. Now, according to the U.S. Army Reserve, this wasn't Sergeant Tegens' first deployment in Kuwait. He had been there 2 previous times in 2009 and 2019. He's also been awarded several medals during his service, ranging from Meritorious Service Medal to Army Achievement Medal. For reference, right here, the last Nebraska soldier killed in the line of duty was Corporal Dagan Page. The 23-year-old was a member of the 2nd Battalion Marine Regiment. He was one of 13 people killed during an attack on Afghanistan Air Base in August of 2021. Reactions and condolences from local politicians have been pouring in since this news broke that someone from Nebraska was killed in this incident. Now, you can see all of those reactions, including from Governor Pillen, as well as representatives from all over, if you head over to our website, 1011now.com, where we have more on this story. Now, sticking with Iran, but back here, the war in Iran is leading to higher gas prices here at home. According to AAA, the average price per gallon has jumped to just over $3 nationally, the first time it's reached the benchmark this year. Here in Lincoln, the average price for a gallon of gas is $3.01, slightly higher than the state average, which is $2.98. Now, those numbers are spiking quickly because the state's average was $2.88 yesterday and $2.63 a month ago, all according to AAA. So again, that's a large jump there. And we spoke with one local gas station owner who runs a Phillips 66 here in Lincoln, and he says wholesale costs have gone up about 25 cents in the last few days.
Usually anytime you hear any problem in the Middle East or something like that, there tends to be a rise at that point. And sometimes you see price of the barrel go up, and I think I saw that as well. But in this case, yeah, as soon as that gets mentioned, there tends to be a spike at that point.
Now, despite the price increase, he says he doesn't expect business to take a major hit because drivers still have to fill up regardless. Now, industry experts say they're expecting prices to keep going up for the next couple of weeks or until the conflict is over. Now, that's just a lot of stories internationally, according from Iran, that we all have on our website, from the Bellevue man who was identified to the surge in gas prices to this morning's press conference that we just gave you an update on earlier before. But again, stick with us at 1011 now as more updates develop in this. Now over to your next story for this morning's trending stories. Happening today, Nebraska's Attorney General is announcing legal action he's taking against a major online platform. Mike Hildress will make the announcement at 10 a.m. this morning from the state capitol. His office says the lawsuit is aimed to keeping Nebraska children safe online. Now, we'll be streaming this news conference live, so you're already here watching us here live at Morning Pulse, so be sure to come back over here and tune in on our 1011 Now app and on Roku. Again, that is at 10 a.m., and we'll be sure to be there and give you the latest. In our next story this morning, back in November, the UNL Faculty Senate voted no confidence against former Chancellor Rodney Bennett in response to budget cuts that eliminated 4 departments. But some faculty are now saying this wasn't enough. At a meeting yesterday, a motion was introduced to move forward 3 more of those votes against other administrators. Those 3, Mark Button, Tiffany Hang Moss, and Jennifer Nelson, are all members of the Chancellor's executive leadership team. The motion claims they were architects in constructing the more than $27 million in cuts. Susan Vanderplas is an associate professor in the statistics department, which was eliminated by those cuts, who is also the person who introduced the motion.
I urge you, as you consult with your colleagues, to consider whether this campus, its faculty, and its students are best served by leaders who have so badly damaged the teaching and research climate and the reputation of this institution.
Now, members did not adopt the motion yesterday, instead voting to send it to their executive committee and to finalize language in it at their meeting on April 7th. Over to sports. You knew it was coming, unfortunately, but a tough night out west for the Huskers. Overnight, Nebraska ball suffering its most lopsided loss of the season. The 9th-ranked Huskers fell to UCLA Bruins 72-52 in Los Angeles. Big Red turned the ball over 13 times and struggled to find rhythm offensively, shooting just 39% from the field. All Big Ten candidate Price Sanford was held to just 9 points, his lowest total since December. Nebraska, now 25-5, returns home on Sunday for its regular season finale game against conference rival Iowa at PBA. And wrapping things up with your final story this Wednesday morning, students from different schools in Nebraska gathered at the state capitol yesterday to celebrate what's known as Theater in Our Schools Day. Wow. Okay. Yep. Sorry about that, folks. I got the wrong super for this story popping up, but again, has to do with theater. So they're not singing Hamilton, but after speaking with senators in the morning, the group of students performed together in the rotunda. Take a listen to what they were singing.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Again, just a beautiful tune there. Sorry about the super again. But that being said, it's still having to do with theater. It's the 5th year of students coming to the Capitol for the event. The purpose is to advocate for theater in schools and talk to senators about the impact theater has had on students going far beyond the stage. They tell us those discussions centered around the skill sets that come from theater, including public speaking and public service. That's going to do it for your news in this morning pulse, and we'll wrap things up with a look at your 7-day forecast before throwing things over to Brandon Rector with more.
Good Wednesday morning. Meteorologist Brandon Rector with you in the 1011 Severe Weather Center. We have a dense fog advisory in place until 10 a.m. this morning for a portion of central and western Nebraska where visibility could drop to 1/4 of a mile or less. And even outside of that advisory area, we may have some isolated locations in eastern Nebraska where we could see some dense fog. We will remain mainly cloudy across the eastern third to half of the area for today, decreasing the cloud in the west, so it becomes mainly sunny this afternoon. We'll have light and variable winds and a 20% chance of some isolated showers as we go through this afternoon in the eastern part of the state, continuing into this evening. Temperatures at noon in the mid-40s to upper 50s across the state. By 4 in the upper 40s to low 50s in the east, but it looks like low to mid-60s in the west. And by 8 this evening, temperatures in the low 40s to low 50s. In Lincoln for today, we're warming up to 50.
From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.